To the Eastern Cape now, where mop-up operations are underway in the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. This after heavy rains pounded some parts of the province, causing extensive damage. Gale force winds ripped off roofs and uprooted trees, flooding streets and homes. To get the latest on this, let's speak to Acting Disaster Management Head in the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, Henry Lansdown. Thank you so much, Mr. Lansdown, for your time this evening. We understand you have mammoth task on your hands in terms of mop-up operations. Can you tell us what conditions look like at the moment, first off, before we get into those operations?
Yes, good evening. We were actually very fortunate in the sense that it was not as bad as what we expected. So fortunately, most of the rain fell in our catchment area, and with the drought situation that we've had, obviously that brings much needed relief. We did, however, respond to some flood situations. In the Keiga area, we assisted 112 people. They were housed in the local community hall. There were also people in the Kunu area where they were housed in a church, about 70 people. Other places, Jagtvlakte, Motherwell, NU 12, as well as Extension 32. So fortunately, we were not as severely affected as what we expected, but fortunately, we can report that the catchment area received a lot of rain, 100 millimeters to 150 millimeters, and obviously that's going to bring great relief to our drought-stricken area.
So rain, a good thing for farmers, no doubt, especially given the drought that you've been experiencing in your province. Unfortunately, damage to homes, not such good news for the families affected. You've told us about a number of families or people being housed temporarily. Can you tell us whether you've experienced any fatalities or injuries related to the weather?
Fortunately, no fatalities or injuries reported. There was some minor damage with the easterly winds that we experienced, but nothing major, just trees falling over roads, but that got cleared today, so not as severe as expected.
Any damage to public infrastructure? We've heard about winds damaging roofs of houses, as you've said, trees being blown over. What kind of situation are you looking at in terms of public infrastructure? Again,
we were fortunate that there were no major damage to infrastructure. Some electrical lines were damaged, but that got quickly restored by the electricity teams. Otherwise, apart from that, nothing serious.
You've had a minor reprieve from Eskom due to the weather. That certainly must have been welcome given the situation, the challenges people were facing. Do you know how long that reprieve is likely to last?
I really can't comment on that. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so we had heard reports that Eskom was not implementing load shedding in the Western and Eastern Cape in an effort to support mop-up operations where that's been necessary. If that's not the case, can you possibly tell us how long you're expecting these people who are being housed temporarily to be in need of alternate accommodation?
At some of the places, people have moved back to their houses. We also have teams going out and pumping water to, to make it possible for people to move back to their houses as soon as possible. And our infrastructure teams are working on that.
Last question for you. It seems like you have everything well in hand. Any road closures that people travelling should be aware of?
The only road closure that we have at this stage is 3rd Avenue dip that always get flooded when we receive heavy rains. So that's the only one that we've got. And then also the the Seaview Road, that road is also flooded at this stage.
Well, in comparison to the Western Cape, it seems like the Eastern Cape and especially the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro or Municipality has come away relatively unscathed. Thank you very much for giving us an update. That was Acting Disaster Management Head in the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, Henry Lansdown.